That's fine. What are you using to record?
Can't tell you that, bro.
Okay.
Not Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I use Zoom for a lot of shit.
You can turn it a little bit more towards you. Like I'm dominating over here.
No, I use Zoom for a lot of shit. Dude, have you updated the new software? The new shit is fucking dope.
Yeah,
It's clean.
I just recently did.
Yeah, like you can use, I haven't messed around with it, but like, so it'll automatically, I can use this as the camera.
Oh wow.
While it's recording. So like I can use this as a webcam if I'm recording there. I can use my iPad as like live whiteboard.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, you just got an iPad, right?
No, I got a MacBook Pro.
Yeah. They're making it fucking super
That's
easy.
crazy.
Yeah. Welcome. This is like we already had half of this kind of going on JD's podcast, Instagram. So we're picking up the second half here. Welcome to the Strength Method. We have a couple of guests today. We have JD, aka the Black Rambier, aka the Bruised Guava. And we have Cola. I just met Cola recently through JD, and the reason I wanted him to come on here is because he started something called the Good Cult. And I remember, I'm just gonna share this again. JD threw an event for Halloween, and Cola was there. And I had known about you because you guys did the vending machine partnership. And he was handing out these flyers, and it was like the Good Cult. And I was reading through this thing, I was like, I feel like I wrote this. Like this is amazing. So I just started following it, and well, we've been talking about it a lot, but I'm gonna let you talk a little bit about where that kind of came from, and what the vision and what the message of the Good Cult is.
Should I share already kind of like what we already talked about?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
It's not so hard. It's more conversational than really anything.
it's three dudes shitting around.
Well, I guess I'll just recap kind of because we already talked about it. I'll just kind of like recap the beginning, but started in 2015, developed out of like trying to start a weird blend of trying to start a clothing brand, and then just like having a group of friends around me that kind of, I guess, apparently felt like a cult, according to JD. And so just those two things meshed perfectly. He was like, Cola, you kind of have a cult around you. I was like, but it's a good one. And he's like, oh, good cult.
He really did.
Twitter and Instagram handles were available. Yep, exactly. And so we ran with it. That was in 2015. We were trying to operate the business for a couple of years. That partnership fell apart, went silent for a couple of years while I focused on music. And then in 2020, met my current collaborator and business partner. And we've kind of just been ramping it up since then. And
Majorly.
Yeah, appreciate that. I do definitely feel like this is the right iteration of it. I feel like those first years were the building blocks, the foundation, like setting the culture.
I'm honestly glad you said that. Yeah. It wasn't like, I thought I was like, please don't say a waste.
No. I mean, not at all. But it was kind of like, you know what it was? It was kind of like, it was like a rebuilding stage for like a basketball team or something.
100%. You know what, as you're saying that, because San Jose Barbell started in 2013. That's when I met him in 2013. And, we put together things. It was the same thing. Like you get this idea, there's this seed, and you have this vision of like, what is this about? Blah, blah, blah. But you don't know.
Right.
And in 2020, it died.
Right.
It seemingly died.
Right.
But that's where the phoenix reemerges from the ashes. But you don't get that clarity unless that happens. Like you can't make it up. Like, oh, I'm gonna sit here and write out the perfect, idea or the business. It has to go through those iterations.
For sure.
100%.
Mine, it's funny, like I never realized, I was like, did my business ever go through anything? Name's JD, everybody knows me. But I have a couple businesses, like we we have the vending machine. We're sitting in a Airbnb that we literally just set up 50% for this interview. But I was hustling, and so that happened for me when I was 32. I didn't like where my life was, and I made some major changes to my business, to myself. I was a taker. I was interested, like if it wasn't about like if someone ordered shirts, it was about the money.
Yeah.
It wasn't about building a system to serve my fellow humanity. And I went through a very bad breakup at the time. And I vowed to stop taking, and I vowed to start giving, and not work. It wasn't a monetary thing. It wasn't a monetary thing. Let me let my business partner in. My worker in. It wasn't a monetary thing. It was literally about giving. And so that was kind of the rebirth, the Phoenix for me. And my business blew up and has there's so many opportunities that have come just from changing my mindset. It wasn't a partnership thing. It wasn't a idea. I was in it for the wrong reasons. And people start businesses for money, which is important. But when I switched over, just give, and I've just been doing that for years, the impact has been I don't think I would be sitting here right now having this interview if I didn't make that switch.
No, I think that's 100% true. Man, you have lived that, everybody knows these principles, everybody talks about these principles. Right. And I'll say, have I lived those principles 100%? No, not even. But I will say, I know a lot of people, you're one of the very few people who has lived those. Even think about the pandemic. Okay, the gym shut down. That building was empty. Okay, I got 10 people in there. We're working out underground. We got the windows boarded up. Yeah. But we're not paying the bills. Right. I still have a mortgage there. I got electric. I got water. All kinds of stuff. And so he's like, hey, why don't we do a pop-up? I'm like, what's a pop-up? And so you did what, 8, 9 pop-ups?
I can. We did one. That's funny. We did one every week, pretty much.
Yeah, for a while.
Yeah, for a couple of months.
How you guys doing?
We're doing a podcast with Diego.
Hey, it's just 4 dudes shit.
Yeah. You sit down, person.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy that you say that you were a taker before, because as long as I've known you, I've never thought that way about you.
I wasn't. I agree with that.
And I don't. And obviously, I'm not gonna discredit your journey and what you learned, because I know when you say that, you mean, and there's truth to that. But one of the most powerful things that I've learned from you is gratitude and tithing and giving back and stuff. And I feel I swear you've always been like that.
So it's funny because to go into it, when I was dating a sheriff at the time.
I remember that, yeah.
Who was murdering the gang.
Yeah.
Making a gang of bread. She's a cop. Cops get all this crazy. She worked for Santa Clara County, which is the highest paid sheriffs in the country. And they get their overtime is double what that is. So she's making double the and she would not tithe. She would not really go to church. She wouldn't. So me being from not in the right mindset, obviously no one sees these conversations I have. I was like, if she's not tithing and she's getting the high pay, why do I need to tithe? But it kept being on my heart. But mind you, my bank account was lacking at the time. I was getting deals all the time, but my bank account was lacking. And God had put it on my heart to tithe. And I still was fighting it. And then after we went through our breakup, one of the things that I said is, I'm going to start tithing. And I realized that just because it's not on someone else's heart, I'll never try to force anything on anyone else. Just because it's not on someone else's heart, it was on my heart heavy. And it literally, tithing changed my life. I tell the story all the time. I'll tell it real quick just because Diego's here. So I had a glass jar, right? And I still have it. My girl tried to throw it away. Current girl tried to throw it away. I said, give me that. And what I did is I would just I made a lot of cash at the time. I would bartend and I was making shirts. That's all I was doing at the time. And I would put 10% of whatever I made. So if I made $100, I put $10 in there. If I made 1,000, I put $100 in there. And then I would just take it to church. But the jar kept filling up off of 10%. And so the next thing, God was like, just give yourself 10%. And I had been reading books, like a lot of this stuff is like mixed religion with all of my knowledge to create me. But I had a jar for me, and then I had a jar for God. And mind you, I'm giving one jar to the church. My jar just kept filling up. I went from having, at 32 years old, it's like I've written about it so many times. I had $54 to my name. Mind you, I was probably able to close the deal and got like a couple more hundred, but I was 32 with $54. I started tithing. I think within a year, I had 10 G's in my bank account. I think within 2 years, I was debt free. Within 3 years, I think, what is that, 32, 33, 34. By like 36, I think we got 50 vending wheels, 100 vending machines. I started 5 Airbnbs. I had one with my mom. I don't want to throw the number out there, but I had multiple 10 G's and I was debt free. I had a motorcycle, my car was paid off. So I went from $54 not tithing to having everything I want from tithing. So there's a statement in the Bible, and God does not like challenges. God does not want you to say, hey, if you're real, God, turn off the lights. He doesn't, that's a challenge to God. There's only one challenge in the Bible, and he says, if you give me 10% of your first fruits, your brats will overflow. Did you lock my car? Okay, cool. So, and I asked that question because now, time after time after time, my car will be full of boxes. We have rooms full of stuff. My boys got like I have access to so much stuff. I could go into so many storerooms and take from them. And it just opened my mind. It wasn't a monetary thing. It just really opened my mind. So that's my tithing story. To go back to, I shared it with Cola. He actually pulled up on me at a fix and flip that I do. And I told him that story, and he said it had a crazy impact on his life.
Yeah, for sure. I could talk about tithing and how it impacted me too. It'd be pretty similar though. I feel like you drove that point home. But I mean, I've learned a lot from you regarding that. And just like the general way that you live your life. Sometimes as an entrepreneur, I'm sure everybody, that's an entrepreneur gets it, like the uncertainty is sometimes like frightening a little bit, or it can get to you, but like you have been that model of someone that I've like looked up to and like has always poured into me, that's been like, well, JD has seemed to make it work, and not only make it work but like thrive. So I'm like, okay, like I'm good then. We'll figure this out.
The evidence. Yeah.
No, he just hit me the other day, and he's like, I'm going through, life's testing me right now. And it's cool because we can't see it from the outside in, and everybody in here has gone through those struggles.
No one knows because everybody wants to share only only what looks
their
good.
highlight reel, we call it.
And that's not, and especially as men, you can't. And, it's not like, oh, share everything on social media, share everything with everybody, but share the right things with, the right people that can support you and be able to listen. And, there's been many times where, we've had that conversation.
I told Ranbir we were always friends, and he already knows what I'm about to say. We were always friends. But when I was 32, I went through a horrible breakup, as I mentioned. I was broken inside. I was broken. And I kind of don't like talking about it because I'm a girl now. She don't listen to none of my shit. But I was broken. And I remember when Ranbir, like, we've hit tiers of friendship where I never thought I could go that far with a friend. And I actually pray to be able to go deep with people. So I'm very surface level and like jokey.
Right.
But I was in a dark place. And I remember the gym, my shop was right here in his gym. I could literally like walk 30 seconds and be at the gym. And I went in the gym and I told Ranbir, I was like, Ranbir, I'm in a very dark place. remember he was a good meme? And he said, I'm in a dark place too. And ever since then, we've been like, I was like, this dude's cool
No,
as shit.
like just to know that, there's other people. That's why this is important, to be able to have good conversations with good people, because that it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
It's gonna be okay. And that's why, I'm like, I was reading, I wish I had the pamphlet. I know I have it at my house somewhere, but I was reading through this thing. I'm like, what culture and society shares and says is right, is good, is what is, what you should do or should think. And it's all fucking bullshit. You can do good things and have a good, what your mom said, that really sticks out to me.
What did she say?
Be good, have fun.
Yeah.
Hey.
That's what she would always
Yeah.
tell me, like when I left, when I was a kid and shit, before I got there, all right, have fun, be good, and so then when we were just brainstorming this year, I'm like, what we're always brainstorming and talking, like evolving and molding and reshaping the ethos of Good Cult, and in one
You ever heard of
conversation.
Cole?
No, so like,
All right, that's perfect. Share a little bit about what Good Cult is. If we're trying to initiate some people.
If we're trying to get him into good Cole, what would you tell him?
Oh man, that's always the hardest part for me, because but
Putting you on the spot.
if you go, so what is a good cult? My first reaction is, well, it's a cult. We're a cult, but a good one.
There's a good one.
And I try to leave it at that. But if they need more, I would tell them, what do you guys do? And it's like, well, we don't throw or promote shows. We put on once in a lifetime experiences.
I can attest that that's true.
Yeah, we don't sell merch. We produce like high quality, creative, unique garments and products and accessories. And we also make music and create like films and content. So we do all of that. I've never been one for like titles. I don't call myself a creative, and I don't call myself like really anything. But so anyway, so that's all the type of stuff that we do. Like tomorrow, we're having our first cult meeting down here in Japantown. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I was. That's why I asked you originally.
I'm gonna pick this up before tomorrow. So Roy's Coffee. If you see this after, then it's too late. But I'm sure there'll be more. But Roy's Coffee tomorrow, 11 a.m.
Yeah.
To 2-ish, 3-ish.
Yeah, a couple hours till everyone
Does
leaves.
Roy's know?
Yeah.
Oh,
They're-
okay.
Yeah, they're actually getting calls from people being like, "Hey, do you know that there's a cult meeting planned?" And they're like, "We know, that's the homie." Like, so it's funny. Yeah, you usually get a couple different reactions. People like, "A cult? What the hell?" Or like, type shit. Or people that are like, "Ooh, tell me more."
We went to so I volunteered at his Back to Giving. So I volunteered at 2 of his shows. And they gave us Back to Giving. They brought us and got us barbecue like a couple of days later.
Yeah.
Right. And so some of the volunteers were there, and there was a girl there, and she was talking about her mom. And she's like, my mom was highly concerned that I'm hanging around you guys. She's like, what is this cult? She's like, we're Christians. She's like, this is not what we believe. She was saying like her mom freaked out. I told her to just go in the room. But it's not just like I am religious. I spoke about God. I spoke about tithing. Like it is not that type of cult. You do have to get blood every now and then. Like it's not that weird. So do you have any blood that you want to get?
Well,
Right.
no, that's dope.
That was a joke. You don't have to get blood to be a cult.
We haven't accepted any blood yet. We'll see. That would actually be a really dope concept for us to do, like an event to where it's like we give blood for like the Red Cross or whatever, but like we mark it as like we're giving
We say
blood.
the red problem thing underneath you, like when everyone's done, you just like it's cold blood. That'd be dope. I love like this is a side note, like I love he talked about how I think it's like the first time I'm really realizing it, but Cole is a fucking sponge. You know what I mean? Because there's things that I told Cola almost as a mentor, but in passing, and no one ever takes anything. I'll be telling people how to make millions of dollars and no one ever listens to me. Like I'll literally Diego's kind of seen the back end of everything. He's sitting in Airbnb, he helped me ship hundreds of packages. But no one ever really listens to me or applies what I say. And so I give kudos to Cola because he be listening and he be applying and he be soaking up game, and even how he just like took the blood thing and I've seen him do that. He took the idea from Good Pole and built a whole brand around it. And you know, I think that's good. He ties, you know what I mean? So it's cool to see like a podcast or something out there, like people taking action on the things that you say when it comes from a genuine.
No, but you know, so I think about this a lot. I mean, this audience knows what I do. It's fitness and been doing that for 15 years. And I think about this, I'm like, you're not paying for information. You don't need information is all out there. You can find it, it's free. How many conversations I've had with people? You're like, oh man, I gotta get in shape, I gotta do this, I gotta blah blah. And I'm like, back in the day, it used to bother me because I'm like, I'm telling you what to do, and you're like, you're like arguing with me, like, what are you talking about? Or you've asked me multiple times, and you haven't done it. And as I've matured, I'm like, it's not that serious. Most people will not follow, and that's okay. Like, but it's for the
That's only 1 to 5% of people will.
But you know what? You remember the story of the starfish?
Yeah, I do.
Do you want to share the story of the starfish?
Yeah, so it's actually a very powerful principle, and it's actually one of the things that keeps me going and not giving up. So they're on a guy is on a beach, and a girl's kind of far away, and there's thousands of starfish on the beach, thousands and thousands of starfish. There had been like a tsunami or something, and it washed them to shore. And she sees this guy just throwing the starfish back into the ocean gently, you know, trying to save their lives. And she walks, and the whole time as she gets closer, he's just putting the starfish back into the ocean, starfish back into the ocean. She finally gets to the guy, and she asks him, she's like, why are you throwing this starfish in the ocean? There's thousands of them. And
you're not gonna be able to
have it. It doesn't matter. And she's like, he picks up a starfish. He's like, for that one, it does. Yeah. For that one, it does. For that one, it does. Yeah. So even though you can't help everybody, like the couple of starfish that you are able to help makes an impact, you know, and it actually has a crazy ripple effect. If you do it long enough, you get to see like rounds of this stuff, you know, just being able to sit, honestly, the level of gratitude, like Diego's new to my life. He's we do some contracting work over at Google. And you know, he's been like amazing at work, and I kind of I don't want to say taking him under my wings. I don't think it's that extreme, but he's hungry, and he, you know what I mean? He kills it at work. And so I was like, okay, I'll show you my world a little bit, just because, you know, just try to have a positive influence on him. And it's I don't know where the hell I was going.
It matters to that starfish.
It matters to that one person. It matters, you know. So it's just crazy. I feel a high level of gratitude to be sitting with, like, honestly, like two of my favorite people. I judge people. I don't care about your money unless you're just like broke as fuck. This is what I do judge people when it comes to money. I'll tell you what I judge people when it comes to money. If you want something for nothing, right? I personally try not to judge at all, but I do not like people who want something for nothing. It bothers me. I have so many thoughts going through my head right now. It's crazy, but I feel like I've always judged, like, you too, and maybe one day you'll let me down, but like starting with my grandma has like the strongest heart muscle I've ever seen. Like a lot of that, like me just pulling up, I don't even want to talk about like good things I do. It's not important, right? But it comes from my grandma. But you guys have always just through the years, like no matter what the circumstance, have always just had such a powerful, strong heart muscle. And been like, I think Ranveer has learned vulnerability as of lately, which I feel like you guys don't know, but if you go down, Ranveer his family has a family business and it's a liquor store. He went through a crazy struggle, you know, where everything isn't a fucking highlight reel. He went through a crazy journey and he was very vulnerable sharing that journey. If he did not go through that horrible fucking journey, the liquor store, two of the liquor stores that I've seen him run, I swear I just told him how it looked before his heartbreak, when he wasn't as vulnerable, when he, you know, was in a different world, which I love that version also. But him going through what he went through transformed him. My heartbreak transformed me. I don't know necessarily what transformed you, but if I went into this liquor store after this thing, I had to walk out and make sure it was the same market liquor store because it looked so much different. It was immaculate. Like, it's a little dusty in there before, but you don't realize it. You don't even consciously think about it. Ranbir remodeled this. I had to tell him like create art. We're in a Airbnb. This is an Airbnb. The hallways he redid, the staircase he redid. Wow. There's 4 units now that he's redone. So I keep telling him like create artwork, create artwork. So this new version of him, the stuff that is coming out and what he's producing is phenomenal. Like it's nothing to us, but it's crazy. Like when I take a step back and see who you're becoming as a man.
No, I appreciate that, but you know, it's everything is a mirror. So like that's why I also you know you say, oh, I wanted to be around you. That's the same reason why I was like, oh, you need to bring cola. That's the same reason I was like, oh, I'm gonna hang out with. I don't hang out with a lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't talk with a lot of people. I spend time with my wife. I spend time with my clients. And I tried to share good information. But it's like, I know it's a mirror. Like if I see something good, I want to go there.
That's right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, man, we gotta get you on here. We gotta talk. And you know, I know you got your time is.
I got more time. I just
okay.
They're late.
I do. One of the things that I like to do, and I just kind of want to go around, and you can even hop in here, Diego. One of the things I like to do is add value. We can even end on. I don't want to make it overly long for anybody listening, and it makes good clips. What is one thing you would give the people? That's obviously there's so many gyms in here. If you really listen, we're dropping heat. But what's one gym? And this is maybe a fitness podcast, so you could maybe do a fitness one or anything like that. But what's one thing if you had to give a principle, you know, like almost like your dying words, like say this and then you go out. What's one principle that you would leave the world with? You can just probably go around just to add some value.
That's a loaded ass question.
I remind me of that Dave Chappelle skit where he goes, I have to tell you one thing. I'm dead.
I think to keep it simple, don't think too hard about it. Just think of the first thing that comes to mind.
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is like, hey, do good shit.
Yeah. No.
It's like, be good, have fun. That's what it comes down to. Like the name, this is not even about fitness anymore. Like as I talk to more people and I bring more people on, like it's called the strength method. And the reason it was called the strength method, I'll keep this super short. I was weak as fuck. You know,
I swear, no homo. I swear, I want you to take your shirt off.
You're not gonna do that. You're not gonna do that. But I used to, you know, I was really weak. I was really skinny, and like I was afraid. I was afraid of doing the wrong thing. I was afraid of getting yelled at. I was afraid of a whole bunch of shit. And the reason why it's called the strength method is because my first domino was getting strong, and I was like, oh shit. Oh, I can be strong. And that just amplifies when you have strength, and that strength it started with physical, but it's physical strength, it's emotional strength, it's spiritual strength, it's financial strength, and mental strength. So strength across the board. It just amplifies who you are and what you can do. And
cut up. Damn. Okay.
All right. Well, to be fair, if anybody's actually listening to this, they would have already seen that, but
Those are my viewers.
but the point was, as you find strength and you build strength and cultivate strength, you're able to do good stuff, do good shit, and have fun. That was the purpose of it. And all the things I was afraid of or blah 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 just kind of disappeared, and they don't really matter. Which is, I was like, that's why I talked with this guy. That's why I wanted to talk to you. I'm like, you could do things the way that you're supposed to. Yeah, this is how you run a business. This is how you do a brand. This is how you do this. I'll share this really short. They asked me if I wanted to run for District 8 council member. A couple people in our community, like, you want to run? And I was like, I don't want to run. But then I was like, if I did run, I would do it completely different from and I would not do it's not about politics, it's about being with people. It's how Matt Mayhem.
That's gonna drop the video. I have some heat, but go ahead.
From what?
Matt Mayhem.
Yeah.
Matt Mayhem. All our pictures and
everything. Yeah. So, but I was like, the reason he won is because he did things differently, and he's about doing good stuff, and and that's strength to me. So anyways, my message, if I could put it into a sentence, would be, cultivate strength in all areas of life, do good stuff, and then have fun. Like that's what I would do.
That's like you broke down that strength thing.
Yeah, that's real.
I
had a question for you. I'm gonna ask you questions so I can buy me some time. Yeah. You said when you were reading the pamphlet, you felt like it was something that you wrote.
Yes.
What did you mean by that, out of curiosity?
So I've been studying, the copywriting and business marketing, etc., for a very long time. And one thing you want to do when you write is you want to tap into your audience's their brain. What are their fears? What are their hopes, their desires? If you can write in a way that the person reading it goes like, oh, that's me. Now you've hit the mark. Like that's the holy grail. And so, like, a lot of people, they write too complicated. They're trying to be clever. It's not about that. It's about connecting with the person, knowing what's going on in their head, and speaking their language, so that when they read it, they go, oh yeah, like I could have written that. And so that's what I meant. Like when I read that thing, that's why I was like, man, I wish I had it so I could read it.
Right.
But when I was reading that, I was like, these are all the things that I believe. These are all the things that I've been wanting to share, that I've been sharing. And I was like, this is, a beautiful thing. So that's what I meant with that.
Got it.
He writes emails, he writes copy, he writes out to, he has a list that he actively writes to on a regular basis. So one of our many things is I'm a marketing guy. I love marketing and branding. I feel like with good marketing and branding, you actually don't have to do anything else. Because if you can bring in enough money for marketing and branding, you could pay a team to do the logistical stuff. If you get like Beyonce actually performs, but like Kylie Jenner, like she literally has to do nothing, but she could just be like, hey, buy this lip gloss. And because she's built such a brand, if she didn't build that brand, she would have to make the lip gloss. She would have to source it. She'd have to do this. She'd have to do that. But because her brand is obviously from her sisters and, from Kim K, but she played it well because she built that brand so fucking strong. She don't have to do nothing else. She's not gonna pack in shit, no lip gloss. She's not gonna, you get what I'm saying? She can do it for anything. She can say, hey, this is my new water. And she's gonna sell 1 million bottles of water off of the marketing and branding. And so people get so focused on, oh, I need the perfect water. It's like, nah, just make yourself popular and pop in, and you can sell as much stuff as you possibly want to sell.
Speak the language of your audience.
Yeah. So Ranbir and Ranbir is even deeper. Anytime I think I hit a new level, Ranbir's been on it.
10 steps ahead.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I have an email list. He's like, I have 10,000 people on my email list. So that's what, so like, just to give you some context.
Got
So
it.
he actively writes probably an email, if not every day, every other day.
Got
So
it.
when he said that, he was writing like, hey, I could have wrote this piece of content.
It spoke to my heart. I was like, oh, this is good. This is good stuff. I
That's
like
dope.
this.
Did you think of anything yet, young brother?
No, I mean, I'll come with something, but you know, like that's crazy that you say that because me personally, I don't consider myself to be knowledgeable in marketing at all. I don't really have.
What?
I don't know. Let me finish. What I'm thinking is like I don't have an education in marketing, and I don't really study like marketing principles like consciously. But I think that what I am is I'm an expert in what I do and I know and I love, which is good cult. So like for me, I'm just kind of reflecting on like writing that pamphlet and like everything around good cult is so like that's why we hand out Kool-Aid at our events and including tomorrow, and that's why we made a pamphlet, right? Or we have like one of our, believe it or not, one of our most effective marketing tools thus far has been those flyers that we put on light poles that says join a cult with a number that you can rip away and take a number, and then we tell people to text us the favorite color. Yeah, it's us. And it's like join a cult, whatever. And that has like, believe it or not, in this digital age, that's been like,
dude, no, that is, so this is what so many people, since I've been on like the other side of it where you learn the stuff and you try to do it the right way. But the lesson always comes back to, if you can actually ignore all the things you're supposed to do and speak like what is truly in your heart, which is difficult because you're always censoring yourself.
right.
You're gonna find like the rules don't even apply, they don't matter. Whatever you do will resonate because it's truth. And you know, so I'm not surprised at all, and that makes perfect sense to me because, and that's why, since it was true for you, you wrote these things. When I read it, I'm like, it planted a seed in my head, and from that day, I was like, I just been thinking about the good call. It's like I've been thinking about the good call.
That's so cool to hear.
from a little interaction,
Right.
you know, and that's why. And so, you know, and you're talking about this is what I'm all about. I love this. Strength is not about doing what everybody else is doing, because what everybody else is doing is 99% of the time wrong. Not wrong, but it doesn't, because it's not about being right or wrong. It's about, it doesn't produce the desired result.
Okay.
So I was always like, oh, if everybody else is thinking like this, doing this, I gotta go look in the other direction. And so, you know, it makes perfect sense.
You're actually speaking to me right now.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Honestly,
Well, I mean, like I said, it's a mirror. I'm speaking to myself as I say this, and two things come to mind. One,
You see what
I've been creating content since 2011, and I've always censored myself, and not shared what I truly thought. And over the last year, as I've started to share the true stories, like you commented on them, like, this is like your best piece of content ever.
Yeah.
But that was literally me sitting there and like just not trying to create something, not just sharing what is true for me in that moment. Those things have like reached more people. It's like created a far bigger impact and effect than all the times where I tried to like manipulate a result.
I think if you take it and put it into like real life terms, like we're all sitting here, you can't see it, but there's a door here, right? And if someone walked through that door and they had on a suit and they were just like, hey guys, like, I'm trying to kick it too, and it's just like hella fucking fake. You'd be like, get the fuck, get out of here, like what are you doing? But I feel like everyone came in here, and if somebody came in here and just like, yo bro, like I had a rough day, like let's get a cup of water, all of us would be like, bro, like we don't got no cup, but like I'll go buy you something from this. Once you're vulnerable, once you're really yourself, and it doesn't have to be like here's some like it doesn't have to be all this negative. He doesn't have to come in here negative. I don't want that to be like who we are. We're just a bunch of fucking depressed podcast makers. But it's authentic. It's authentic. The thing I want to say, I don't want to make it a rule because we're trying to break rules, but for me, success has come from really like scaring myself. People think I'm hella comfortable making content, but I would say 75 to 80 to 95% of the content I make is very uncomfortable for me to make. Like my skits and my things like that. But the scariest skits that I make and the most uncomfortable skits that I make go viral, like the most viral skits. And when you know what I mean? Like the stupidest stuff I do and really showing who I am, people love that shit. And I'm actually like known more for like these characters that I've created than for myself. So I really do like what you're saying about just being your authentic self, because I think when you on YouTube and they're like, oh, create 7 pieces of posts and do this and do that, you can get lost in that sauce and you can forget that it comes from the art.
All the rules and shit, like if we were doing it by the rules, like, oh, we need to have 4 microphones, we need to have a table and cameras. It's like, no, fuck that. We got a computer. It can record audio, it can record video, we're gonna put it up. That's it.
Right.
Like, that I really like the thing that's so like beautiful to me, like the beauty of it. You just put the flyers on the poles with the little rip-off tags. I've been talking to JD and I
don't even want him to say it. Like, honestly, we're just gonna.
You say what I'm gonna say.
He wants to put up flyers all around Evergreen area.
Door hangers.
Who
does door hangers?
Yeah, no one does door hangers.
But that's the most old school.
That is very old school.
I promise you, Pola's gonna have door hangers. I promise you. I promise you. I'm not a gambling man, but I will bet money that we will see a good call. I would say I think that I'll just make it my principle for now, because I think it's the most freaking important one. Nothing works unless you work.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. I don't care what Ranbir says. I don't care if you do not go into the gym, and even if it's 7 minutes, 3 minutes, what is it to do from what that movie? I'm gonna do 6 minute abs. He's like, something about marriage. It does not work if you don't work. I'll say, that's my statement to you guys. You have to put in the work. The second thing that I'll say is a parable from my favorite book, the good book, the Bible. It says, Jesus said, if you have enough faith, you can move mountains.
Right.
And I think I've told you the answer to this. And I pondered on it for years. I say, God, how do you have enough faith to move mountains? That is like, how can you move a mountain with your faith? So, and it's kind of leading into the work part, but it is like, if you have enough faith, you don't have to do anything. Right. Birds don't labor for anything, trees don't labor, and they're well taken care of. So if you can break past that, you can get to a point where you don't have to work for it. Well, that's a whole nother level. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed for years. What does it mean? How do you have enough faith? And I finally, one day I heard the answer. And he said, move one pebble at a time. And he said, you can move a mountain if you just move one pebble at a time.
That's great.
And then he said, if you want to move it faster, get people to help you. If you want to move it faster, get some equipment to help you. If you want to move it faster, build a system but eventually you will move that mountain with your faith. And this is me having our second realization, once you move one mountain, it becomes extremely easy to move another mountain. And so you see these guys here with me. We set up an Airbnb couch in 20 minutes while recording a video. So I have mapped, the work is still there, but I called my boy, instead of me saying, hey, I want to launch an Airbnb, I'm going to freaking call 100 landlords. Ranbir had this space. I said, hey, are you interested? He was like, let me try to put it long-term lease. I just didn't say anything. We had the stuff. He hit me, hey, I'm ready. I had everyone meet me here at 7:30. This place was fully set up. Not fully set, it's not 100% set up, and I could probably have set this thing up in an hour because my boys were with me. So now I have learned how to move a mountain, but it takes, if the only reason that these men will sit here and work with me is because everyone here, I think, knows that I will outwork anyone here. And they know that I'm not just gonna come and, oh, do this. Like, I know I'm gonna make sure that I'm the hardest person working in this room and try to lead from the front and to the best of my abilities. But I'm learning more and more every day how to move mountains. And one day I'm able to do as much, like there's days where I'll have cleaned 2 Airbnbs. How many vending machines can you stock a day?
Oh shit, it depends how close they are to each other, but
On average.
you probably hit like 5-6 locations max, and that's like a 7-hour.
So without being there now, so I did put in some work, so I'm able to fill 2 Airbnb in one day. I'm able to fill 2 Airbnbs. I'm able to go to 5 to 6 different locations. How many boxes do you pick up on average a day?
4.
So I'm able to get 4 shirt orders to different clients. And me and him, how many events do we do on average a day?
5, 6.
I'm able to do 5 events with him in a 24-hour period. So if you want to talk about moving mountains through faith and through things like that, that is a principle, but it started with work,
you know,
came with faith.
And even more importantly, all throughout that 24-hour period is just the good things you're putting out into the world. Like, you talk to him, you talk to him, you talk to him, you talk to me. And how many dozens of people do you interact with on a daily basis, you know? And that's more important than, the thing that strength gave me more than anything else is like, oh, I'm good. None of this is that serious.
At all.
At the end of the day, I would always say this at the gym. We would have bonfires in the back, have a nice lovely. For the audience that doesn't know, a lovely is a nice drink of whiskey with friends. And I would say, like, this is good. Like, social media is trying to tell you, it's not even like, oh, it's like, oh, we're going against them. It's just observation. They're trying to do whatever they're trying to do. And they're saying, oh, you should be out doing this, and it should be. No, you know what's dope? Having a conversation with 5 good dudes, 5 dudes shitting around.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's right.
I think this is a dope conversation.
Sorry
to pull you into a podcast.
I don't know, it's gonna be so deep, man. It's gonna be
if we get together, it's bullshitting, it still ends up being.
If you really, there's some heat in here.
Yeah.
Even the part about there's so like, this dude just told you how to market your brand. You know what I mean? Like, this dude told you the importance of strength. I told you how to move a mountain,
Yeah.
Some heavy principles,
Heavy.
It took me years to find that out, and I just told you guys in freaking 2 minutes.
No, that's crazy. My mind is kind of blown because I never looked at it that way.
I'm telling you, I pray, bro. Like, when one day it was like, okay, you really want to know how to move a mountain? He said, move 1 stone. I said,
No, but that's so crazy because I feel like with faith, I feel like a lot of people that over spiritualize things, they have this like idea that faith is like a magic solution. It's like people put Jesus glitter on everything.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, and it's like, nah, bro, like that's not it. Like faith is this. He literally says, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, right?
Yeah.
And it's like faith is a seed, which then might give life to inspiration, which might give life to an idea, which might give life to action, which might give life to all, everything you said that eventually leads to the mountain being moved. So it's not like you just like, oh man, I believe this mountain's going to get moved. And then you just open your eyes.
That's what I thought. That was the shift.
Yeah.
That was the shift that took. So it wasn't like I had to be ready for the shift, because if God would like move a stone in the beginning, like that's stupid. Like, I'm trying to move it with my mind. But I literally thought it was a Jedi mind. Yeah. I swear. And it might mean something different to someone else, but I literally thought that if I had enough faith, I would just be able to just move out.
I mean, to be fair, there's very enlightened people throughout history who have been able to do that, but we're all working towards that. But in the meantime, what it is magic. Think about that. Like we think what is magic is like, oh, if I wave a wand around and do something, but why is it not magic that you can go set up some vending machines and next week there's money in there because you provided service to somebody? Why is it not magic that I can go into the gym, move some stuff around, and then a year from now or sooner than that, I can look different? Why is it not magic that if I just change the quantity of food that I'm eating, I can look different? Like it is magic. It's not just because it's not like, oh, I close my eyes and it's different. It's still magical. Why is it not magic? Props to my dad. There's 8 convenience stores right now in San Jose while he's in Canada on a family thing that are providing beverages, snacks, conversation to people of San Jose. How is that not magic?
Lottery tickets.
Lottery ticket. You try to get that Powerball, you know?
The Powerball.
But like that is magic.
It is magic, and I'll throw a principle out there now because I feel like I get this stuff, but I know I got
What we were waiting for.
In my soul, yeah. About to say that.
no, because and I feel like it's perfect because so like the keys, I don't know if you know those little things that we've been doing on Instagram where I'll pick a topic every week and we'll speak on it. The one that we're going to be dropping this upcoming week is literally on faith. And in there, I said something about faith being magical. So you're talking about magic, and you're talking about the mountain and everything. So I feel like I can speak on that, and I think it's that. I think there's a reason that he didn't say if you have faith you can like move a single brick, right? Or there's a reason why when you apply faith it seems magical, and it's because the only time that faith is really applicable and magical is when it's applied to something that seems impossible, like moving a mountain, right? Because it's like if it's like if I gotta go open that door,
I have faith that I can open the door.
Yeah, it's like if I need to go open that door and let someone in, faith isn't required. All I gotta do is walk 10 steps and open the door. It's pretty simple. But if I have to have faith that like I'm hypothetically in like tens of thousands of dollars in debt, and like, but I like see a vision for my life where I'm not only out of debt, but I'm like financially abundant and like stable and thriving, like that. And to me, while in debt is a mountain. It's not just moving a single brick, it's a mountain. And the reality is that although it is a mountain, it is possible, but it's only possible through initially having the faith that it can be possible.
And $1
that's beautiful. I don't want to mess up this quote. I want to share this quote, and I want to say it first, and then I'll see if I was correct. But it's a man's faith in God is measured by the confidence in himself.
That's real.
While you look the quote up, they just did like, who knows who'll be doing these studies, but people, and it's not even, I don't like to make it like everything religious principles, but people who have faith in God
Don't put that what did they call that, like the qualifier. Like people do that all the time. Oh, I don't know. People are like, if
they say so unqualified. I'm unqualified. They say people who believe in God take more risks, and the only reason I'm able to take such crazy risks, I take crazy risks. Even this Airbnb, like it's a risk. We've launched 6, 2 have failed. I'm okay with that because I've learned something from all 6. But it definitely, you can see the difference. Like I would almost bet that Cola, I've seen him do crazy stuff, right? And I would almost bet that a piece of that, him taking that first step, comes from his faith. You know what I mean? Because some of the stuff I've seen him done, I'm like no normal people are doing that. Even to go to Kinko's, or wherever you printed your paper and print out these flyers and spend a day hanging them up takes faith. Because you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't, but I promise you, it was probably one of the most magical days the first time you did it.
Yeah.
And people engaged with you, and it was a lot funner than you would ever imagine. And things happened and relationships were started that if you would have never taken that first step, would have never happened. If you would have never taken that first step, Diego would have never heard your story. Diego now knows about Good Colt. His girl's now gonna know about Good Colt. Marcos, you know what I mean? So, I'm leaving for the Good Colt, babe. So it's faith leads there. So I didn't mean, I'll finish my statement. Faith leads to magical things happening. If I would have never started my brand, I would have never met you two, which is, and if I would have never met you two, I would have never got to see what you guys have accomplished, and I would have never been sitting in an air but it took me saying like, hey, like I'm gonna launch a business. I'm a Black dude. My father's not in my life. I don't know anybody who has a business. My grandma had a cleaning business. I don't know anyone who has a fashion business. I have nobody to guide me, but I'm going to take this step and I'm going to give 10% of my income to the Lord. You know what I mean? Even when I had, nothing from day one I gave. And but that faith makes magical things happen that you can't get if without that faith. Go ahead. What was the quote, Ranveer?
It was just that. It was man's faith in God is measured in his confidence in himself. Like that's it. That's real.
Yeah. Any other points on? We gotta finish setting up this Airbnb.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. Maybe next time we'll have to have a fire, a bonfire and a lovely.
Yeah,
That'd be dope. I'm down.
Diego like that would.
So, all right. Well, thank you for joining us. Shout out to everybody. Work in progress. Catch work in the corner. Cook your breakfast. Not. Pause. We'll finish setting this up, and then that'll be that.